Have you ever stopped to think about how much of your choices are really yours? We live in a highly connected world where digital stimuli are constantly fighting for your attention, and the so-called freedom of choice might even seem like a big lie. Well, maybe you don't even realize it, but you're inside a bubble of illusions. The consumption of explicit videos is a good example of this, and I know you do this often, maybe even before clicking to watch this video, or you're thinking about watching it later, but hold on, I'm here to help. First, let's understand how you are being manipulated so easily. Every click and view you make is part of a well-designed plan by social media owners, who end up reprogramming your behaviors, distorting your perception of pleasure, and making you feel like a total dependent. This is not something that happens occasionally, no. We're talking about a huge problem for humanity. It's a system designed to grab your attention and control it using the very weaknesses of our brain. It's curious, you have a wonderful brain, but it seems like you can't command it, right? And the craziest part is that this manipulation doesn't just affect your choices, but also how you see your inner self, how you relate to others, and how you perceive the world around you. Basically, it affects everything. But don't worry, we're here to help you begin a journey of self-discovery and transformation throughout this video. The first step to change is understanding what happens inside of you. Let's uncover the hidden truths about how your mind is being hacked, and most importantly, learn how to free it from this system that only destroys you from within. Let's go. Now is the time to flip the switch in your mind. Let's have a chat about what it really means to be hacked. When we hear this word, we usually think of technology, invasions, and hackers, right? Well, the concept is somewhat similar. Have you ever stopped to reflect that many of the decisions you make daily might not entirely be yours? It's possible that, without even realizing it, you're being guided to act in certain ways, make certain choices, and even think in specific ways. When we talk about being hacked, we're not just talking about computer systems or data theft, but something much more personal, the influence on the connections and natural reactions of your brain. Especially with the consumption of adult content, this invasion goes beyond the psychological, reaching the neurological. These videos and images are tailor-made to mess with the reward system in our brain, the one that gives us pleasure when we eat, socialize, or achieve something. But when the brain is exposed to artificial and intense stimuli, it begins to operate differently. It starts to ignore more natural and balanced pleasures and seeks these easy and intense peaks to feel satisfied. And this, my friend, is a deep impact that happens silently. By repeatedly consuming this content, you allow your mind to be invaded, altering your natural responses. Think of your brain as a path in the middle of a forest. Each conscious choice you make is like walking along that path, reinforcing the trail. But when you're exposed to these artificial stimuli, new paths end up being formed, leading in directions you didn't choose. These new paths affect not only what you do, but also how you think and feel. And before you know it, you've walked so far down this new road that the old one has disappeared because you never went back down it. Have you ever stopped to think about why those online contents are so addictive? It's not by chance. There's a psychological strategy behind each notification you get. Platforms and creators know how to trigger the right buttons to increase our dopamine, creating a vicious cycle. With every like or click, your mind is flooded with an artificial dose of pleasure, making it harder to switch to healthier options. Think of your brain as a computer infected with a virus. Even though it's working, the virus is there, silently altering everything. This also happens in our brains when we get hacked by these online stimuli, impairing our ability to decide clearly and live fully. And what about that influencer you follow on social media? Do you think she chooses those outfits just for personal taste? No, she knows her audience well and knows how to capture your attention. Still sound like an exaggeration to talk about a hacker? Actually, it's quite appropriate. These external stimuli alter our neural connections, influencing our identity and relationships. Have you ever felt demotivated or disconnected from things you used to love? Maybe your brain is prioritizing quick stimuli instead of meaningful experiences. The good news is that our brain isn't fixed. It's like a chameleon, with neuroplasticity. We can reprogram it to seek healthy and real experiences, not just those things that provide instant pleasure. This means taking back control of our choices and empowering ourselves for authentic personal growth. And if you're curious about how this neural transformation happens and want to know more, comment neuro below. That way, I'll know this content matters to you, and we can create a video on the topic. The human brain is an incredible machine, always seeking joy in the small things in life. A warm hug, a heartwarming conversation, a delicious dinner, or achieving a major goal. All of this is driven by a biological mechanism that motivates us to move forward. But when we overindulge in pornography consumption, this harmony is disrupted, as our brain begins to process pleasure and satisfaction in a different way. When repeatedly exposed to these intense experiences, the brain is flooded with dopamine. This begins with a pleasurable burst of happiness, but soon, a greater level is needed to feel the same. This endless quest for more stimulation ends up dulling the pleasure of simpler things, like watching a good movie or hanging out with friends. Life loses some of its vibrancy, and the vicious cycle deepens. Furthermore, the impact reaches that part of the brain that helps us make decisions and control impulses, the prefrontal cortex. Over time, its efficiency drops, and it becomes easier to fall into automatic behaviors, shutting down rational thinking. Simply put, the brain gets sabotaged, making it harder to choose, to resist impulses, and follow a healthier path. In this context, personal development comes in as a powerful tool for self-help and empowerment. It encourages us to explore new horizons, experience growth in a positive and motivating way. Instead of being stuck in draining habits, the focus is on strengthening this critical part, regaining the ability to live fully and with true satisfaction. One major impact of all this is our emotional health. Spending too much time exposed to these intense stimuli can mess with our brain chemistry, leading to anxiety, depression, and a weird sense of emptiness. The brain simply cannot handle the high levels of dopamine caused by artificial stimuli, and that's when the imbalance occurs. This disrupts our motivation and joy in daily tasks, making the person return to seeking this type of content to fill the gap. It's like an emotional trap. The more you try to escape dissatisfaction, the more trapped you feel, like quicksand. The more you move, the deeper you sink. This cycle affects everything, from our mental health to how we connect with people and enjoy the good moments of life. Another problem is that this bombardment of stimuli conditions us to only seek instant gratification, leaving behind anything that requires patience and effort, such as serious relationships or tasks that demand concentration. Even if you've been stuck in less than ideal habits for a long time, it's entirely possible to reverse this and create new healthy patterns. Start gradually, reduce the excesses, set clear limits, and dive into activities that truly bring you satisfaction, like exercising, meditating, or exploring creative hobbies. Physical exercise, for example, is a great way to release dopamine in a balanced way while strengthening both body and mind. Mindfulness practices and meditation help you focus on the present, reducing impulsiveness and allowing you to appreciate the small things. Spending time on hobbies like cooking, painting, or learning an instrument also brings genuine and lasting satisfaction, helping you rediscover joy in the simple details of life. If you've enjoyed our content so far, leave a like and help our channel reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. When we get there, we'll release exclusive and completely free material on mindfulness techniques. Have you ever stopped to think about why, even knowing that certain online content is not good for you, it is so hard to resist it? Why do we often get stuck in endless cycles of clicks, videos, and notifications? It's no coincidence. Digital platforms are designed to capture your attention, manipulating your behavior and making you dependent on what they offer. This invisible process is fueled by advanced technology and human psychology. These platforms use sophisticated algorithms to analyze every move you make, every word, every audio, everything. They monitor what you watch, how long you watch it, what you click, and even when you pause or exit a video. Based on this data, the algorithms adjust recommendations, ensuring that the next piece of content is even more attractive. Every choice you make, or what seems like a choice, is actually a response predicted by the algorithms. You are not just interacting, you are being manipulated by a system that knows your preferences better than you do. They exploit natural vulnerabilities in our brain, like our preference for quick rewards and aversion to effort. By always offering content that promises immediate pleasure, the platforms create an addictive consumption cycle. Similar to a digital casino, with every click or video, there is a promise of something even more satisfying. This expectation, even if rarely met, keeps you engaged, trapped in an endless search for something good. The impact of this is more than just occupying your time. With every interaction, your brain is flooded with dopamine, reinforcing behaviors. This makes it harder to break the cycle because the brain starts prioritizing these stimuli over more meaningful activities. Tasks that require focus and dedication, such as studying and working, begin to seem less attractive and more difficult. The manipulation not only captures your attention, but also shapes your priorities, taking you further from what really matters. And so, without realizing or wanting it, you become an easy target. Let's use the power of personal development, growth, and self-help to overcome this trap, empower ourselves, and redirect our time and attention to what truly helps us evolve. It's easy to overlook the impact of certain habits, like pornography, thinking it's just a distraction, it doesn't change anything in my life. But the truth is, consuming too much of this kind of content can bring big consequences, which are not always easy to notice right away. These small behaviors, when repeated every day, accumulate and silently transform the way you live, work, and relate to the world around you. Let's walk together on this personal development journey, valuing every step toward growth and empowerment. One of the first signs of this impact is a noticeable decline in productivity. The time spent consuming certain types of content may seem harmless, but over the course of the day, it can consume valuable hours that could be used to accomplish important tasks or achieve long-term goals. More than time, this type of consumption drains your mental energy. By the end of the day, you may feel discouraged, as if you haven't accomplished anything. Research indicates that activities that rely on quick rewards, like consuming adult content, make concentration and organization more difficult. Things that used to be easy start to seem complicated, and procrastination quickly takes control. Additionally, memory is affected. You forget where you left your coat, or where you put your keys just minutes ago. All of this is connected to consuming this content. Furthermore, this kind of habit can create a constant feeling of mental overload. Even when you're not actively consuming the content, your mind may continue returning to those subjects, which is curious because, after all, you forget where you left your card, but you remember that influencer you saw 2 weeks ago. This creates a cycle of frustration and dissatisfaction, where you feel unable to handle your responsibilities or reach your goals, reinforcing procrastination and that feeling of being stuck. However, it's possible to transform this perception through personal development, which encourages growth and self-help, promoting renewing motivations and empowerment. But the impacts are much greater than this. Our personal relationships also end up suffering. This constant search for immediate stimulation can lead us to a state of emotional disconnection. We become used to seeking quick gratification, wanting the perfect body, and then avoiding real-life situations that bring value. Work delays, low libido, and even a lack of interest in authentic experiences begin to decrease, creating stress and affecting our motivation and self-help. Over time, this detachment from reality harms the quality of our relationships. Meaningful conversations lose relevance, and even simple moments with friends or family become less attractive. What once brought joy and comfort starts to seem complicated and challenging. In the long run, this emotional alienation can hinder the building of healthy bonds and affect our sense of belonging and emotional support, paving the way for personal growth when cultivated correctly rather than depression. Have you ever had difficulty concentrating on something important and noticed that your mind keeps drifting to that captivating video? Have you noticed that moments that used to be joyful, like being with friends or achieving a goal, now seem bland? These could be the first signs that you're stuck in a cycle of excessive pornography consumption. Once you realize this, you begin to notice changes in your daily routine. such as an increased frequency of trips to the bathroom or going to your room earlier, and a certain boredom with ease. It's time to look at your personal development, seek empowerment and motivation to overcome this, and promote your growth and self-help. The first sign, and a really annoying one, is when you can't focus. The excess of quick and intense stimuli, like those flashy videos or anything that immediately gives a sense of pleasure, makes our brain prefer quick rewards. This ends up interfering with activities that require patience and dedication, like studying, working on a project, or even reading a book. The restlessness and desire to seek more stimuli create a cycle where concentration is always interrupted, generating frustration and leading to procrastination. Let's talk more about empowerment and motivation to overcome these challenges. Developing focus and always growing are great allies in personal development. It's time to free yourself from these distractions and build a path of self-help and fulfillment. This is something worth investing in. Another warning sign is when you stop feeling that genuine joy in important moments. You know that thing where the brain is always chasing the next of artificial pleasure? Well, it starts going after these stimuli, eventually abandoning the real experiences that brought true happiness, like a sunny day or an afternoon with friends. It feels like you're always chasing something that you never catch, and then satisfaction slips away. Not only does the joy of small things disappear, but this also affects the way you see and connect with the world. Furthermore, feeling guilt and dissatisfaction with yourself is another sign of being stuck in this cycle. Many people talk about that annoying feeling of regret or emptiness after consuming certain types of content, like watching something online that isn't good for you. Besides feeling bad, there's also that heavy self-criticism and shame, which only makes things worse. Guilt makes you crave more of these stimuli to try to relieve the discomfort, but that only worsens the problem, creating a cycle of self-sabotage, where it seems like with every step forward, you take 2 steps back. Having difficulty sleeping and insomnia could be signs that you're developing a dependency on erotic content. Another common symptom is a constant feeling of tiredness. When you consume excessively, it can mess with your body's natural rhythm, especially at night, disrupting your sleep. The brain is bombarded with stimuli and dopamine, especially after finishing these activities, which makes relaxation and preparation for sleep difficult. Sleep quality drops, resulting in mental and physical exhaustion the next day. This lack of energy makes simple tasks, like getting out of bed or staying focused throughout the day, become a real challenge. So how can you regain control of your mind? Believe me, it might seem like a huge challenge, especially when you feel stuck in this routine for a long time. But with the right strategies and daily commitment to yourself, this change is not only possible, but also sustainable. The first step, the most important one, is realizing that you're in a cycle that isn't doing you any good. This awareness is the starting point for any significant transformation. Next comes the humility to change. It's not enough to just recognize your weaknesses. You must be open to real change. Many people have had success with the approach of gradually reducing time spent on social media, not eliminating everything at once. Try using apps that limit the time you spend on your devices. This way, you allow your brain to gradually adjust to normal dopamine levels, which helps ease withdrawal symptoms. The idea is not to immediately deprive yourself of something that's become a habit, but to introduce healthier options that will, over time, replace the old bad habits. For your personal development, this change is pure self-help and empowerment. A super effective way to replace harmful habits is by incorporating easy and accessible activities that provide healthy and lasting pleasure. For example, physical exercises, something that might seem boring, like jumping rope every morning. This is a great way to naturally boost dopamine. Besides breaking a bad habit, your heart will pump better and your cardiovascular health will thank you. Creating a structured routine is essential. Set specific times for work, fun, exercise, and rest. If you decide to have lunch at 11 a.m., stick to it. No excuses. In this process, you'll gradually strengthen your determination and discipline. In addition to these 5 ways mentioned, here's the golden formula. Connect with new people, no matter who they are, how, or where. Create a routine of greeting at least 5 people throughout the day. Of course, this number is just an example, but set tangible goals. Today, greet 2 people. Do this for 7 days, and next week, increase the number of people and the phrases you say. Instead of just saying good morning, say it to 7 people and ask how they are. Do this, even if you feel embarrassed at first, your life will change drastically. Remember, progress is not linear. There will be days more difficult than others, and that's normal. The most important thing is to keep moving forward, even if it's just a small step at a time. Every conscious decision you make to prioritize your well-being and emotional balance brings you closer to a fuller and more meaningful life. Missed a day? No problem. Start over. But I know you still need a bigger reason to change. Imagine a life where you regain control of your mind, feeling completely present and connected with the world around you. Breaking free from the pornography cycle will open the doors to deep and lasting transformation. Suddenly, simple moments which once went unnoticed become full of meaning again. A sunset, a friend's spontaneous laughter, or even the feeling of accomplishing a task with success gain a renewed glow. These small moments, once overshadowed by excessive consumption, now become genuine sources of happiness and inspiration. With a free mind, you discover that the beauty of life lies in the details. As you distance yourself from the underworld, your sensitivity to real experiences returns. Walking through nature, listening to music that touches your soul, or savoring your favorite food become rich and engaging experiences once again. It's as if a fog is lifted, allowing you to see and feel life in a more vibrant and authentic way. This discovery not only nurtures your happiness, but also creates a sense of gratitude for the things that truly matter. Your mental health also undergoes a significant transformation. Without the constant bombardment of dopamine caused by stimuli, the brain begins to recover its ability to seek pleasure in a balanced way. Anxiety, often fueled by the pressure to meet unrealistic expectations or the endless quest for instant gratification, begins to decrease. The feeling of emptiness, which once seemed insurmountable, is gradually replaced by a deeper and more lasting satisfaction. You feel that you can finally breathe with relief, experiencing a calmer mind and a lighter heart. Over time, this new serenity translates into greater mental clarity. Without the incessant distractions that once dominated your thoughts, you gain more energy to focus on what really matters. This emotional balance improves your ability to deal with challenges and find creative solutions, making you more resilient and confident in all areas of life. The increase in productivity and focus becomes noticeable. When your mind is not constantly being diverted by stimuli, you discover that you're able to concentrate better on your goals and tasks. What once seemed like an impossible mountain to climb starts to feel manageable, and procrastination, which often became an obstacle, becomes less frequent. Tasks that once felt like a burden are now seen as opportunities for personal achievement. Imagine starting to receive a salary raise because you're more productive. That's great, and you only achieved that result because of your efforts. Everything that was gray starts to take color again. Think about it and start applying it today. Now that you understand how your mind is being hacked and how it profoundly affects your choices, emotions, and relationships, it's clear that regaining control is not just a possibility, but a necessity. The power to transform is in your hands, and the next step is yours. If this video helped you in any way, follow our channel, share it with someone you care about, and help us spread this message to more people.